The mystery of the oval is not immediately understood by every driver. At first glance, it's quite repetitive. That's until the lights go out and you find yourself bang in the middle of it. Little space, full throttle, crashes, spins, chaos. Oval races are awesome if you get the hang of them. Today, we'll show you how to get started with ovals in iRacing and achieve your desired license without having to win one single race. Before we can hop onto the track, we first have to learn how the licensing classes work in iRacing. There's a total of 6 different licenses in iRacing for each category of races: dirt road, dirt oval, road, and oval racing. Contrary to what you might think at the beginning, promotion to higher classes is not achieved through victories and spectacular overtaking manoeuvres, but through safe and clean driving. So, perfect conditions for a rookie to get off to a flying start. No pressure. You just need to focus on clean race laps. To move up in your license, you need a safety rating of at least 3.0 and a certain number of races you take part in per season. Or, if you want to move up faster, you can also earn an SR of 4.0 directly. Luckily, with rookie racing, this can be done quite quickly. We just have to influence that rating in our favour. If you're someone who's just getting started with iRacing, consider subscribing for more tips and tricks like this about what's probably the best online racer on the market. The big baddies in terms of safety rating are the so-called incident points. As soon as the session starts, these points are counted for practice, qualifying, and the race, and will negatively influence the amount of safety rating you can gain in the session. Incident points are awarded for off tracks, losing control of your car, and most importantly, contact with other drivers. In a perfect world, we would earn no points at all over the entire race distance, although in reality, this isn't always possible, of course. But we do have a few tricks for you on how to get through the often chaotic oval races as cleanly as you can. The first one is by training. Practice makes perfect. Yes, we're in rookie and drive the slowest cars on the smallest tracks, but a little training before the first race really doesn't hurt. Take half an hour and do a few laps to get a feel for the car. This will almost always prevent off tracks and silly spins. If you throw yourself into an online race with no preparation, don't be surprised if it backfires. But if you take the time to get to know your car, you will quickly find out where the limits are. Cold tyres won't catch you by surprise as often, and you won't have to endure a settling in period during the real event. Preventing contact with other cars, on the other hand, is somewhat more difficult. To avoid accidents in an oval race, we have to be smart. First of all, we have to work on our attitude. Winning the race is not important. All that matters is finishing without making mistakes. Even the final race position doesn't matter. To push for a high I rating now is a big no-no. Instead, we take a look at ourselves and, above all, what our opponents are doing. Especially in Class D or Rookie, spins and driving errors are the order of the day. So how can we avoid getting entangled in those? A good starting position? Probably not. Starting at the back can be a real advantage in tight race starts when every rookie thinks that they can win the race in turn 1. Keep your distance. Watch the drivers ahead and, above all, always leave a gap to the cars in front. If they make a mistake, you will have enough time to react to it and avoid incident points. After we found our rhythm and the race is in full swing, the right black box settings are decisive. You should always have the relative open, so that you can see if a faster car is coming from behind. This could also be a race leader who's about to lap you. Your job is to let the faster car pass cleanly, and the best way to do this is to leave space. If the race leader comes from behind and has competition on their tail, they will go for any gap to squeeze past you. This is dangerous and only exposes your safety rating to unnecessary risks. So, scan the field ahead for drivers who are making a mistake and the black box for cars pushing from behind. That way, you can react effortlessly and above all in good time to everything that happens. The tricks just mentioned can also be transferred to other racing classes. But oval racing is something very special, which is why we've picked out a few driving tips to help you achieve the right pace quickly. Oval races rarely follow apexes and braking points. Usually, the oval is a kind of rhythm that you have to repeat over and over again with the car. On the straights, you're flat on the throttle. Then, when turning in, coast into the corner, meaning you lift the throttle and possibly brake ever so slightly into the turn. Then, when you reach the apex, slowly open the throttle again so that the rear remains under control on the exit. These are the rules for smaller courses at least. On courses longer than a mile, you often stay flat on the gas and only coast now and again. Sometimes braking isn't necessary at all. If you want to learn more about the right braking technique in iRacing, check out our tutorial with iRacing legend Max Benneker. Also important in oval racing is not to overuse the tyres. The centrifugal forces cause the outer tyres in particular to wear out quickly if the steering movements are too sudden. An ingenious tip to minimise tyre wear is to adjust the steering ratio in the menu. Just head over to Garage, Chassis, and then change the steering ratio value. The rule of thumb is to get a steering ratio of 16:1 for tracks that are longer than 1 mile. Go for 14:1 if you're having trouble steering on a small track, to 12:1 on even shorter circuits. This will drastically change the way the car feels while turning, as a higher steering ratio demands more steering input to actually register movement. In the long term, this, paired with the driving techniques we explained earlier, will lead to much less strain on your tyres and faster overall lap times during longer races. Oval races. They are truly unique within the world of motorsport. We hope you enjoyed our tips and tricks and that they'll help you on your way to Class A. What other techniques do you know? Tell us about them in the comments. For more esports racing content in general, visit overtake.gg or our YouTube and other social channels. Thanks for having me, and until next time, cheers!